Before forgiving others, forgive yourself first. Do not let yourself be defined by your mistakes. Forgiveness means letting go of the past. Gerald Jampolsky. You unintentionally caused suffering to someone in your past. But after so many years, the sadness and guilt have always been there. Forgiving yourself will make you feel more peaceful and happy, but that doesn't seem to come easily. So, what is the reason for this? This is 1% better every day. Self-forgiveness is not merely saying, I forgive myself, it's much more. In this video, I'm going to show you some simple techniques that I have personally used to forgive myself for inadvertently upsetting others, and how you can use them to enjoy a happier life without ever feeling guilty about it. Although, if you stick around until the end, I'll offer you a bonus tip, which is guaranteed to work if you practice it. The weak can never forgive. Forgiveness is the attribute of the strong. Mahatma Gandhi. The endless reminder of your previous mistakes is debilitating. Through self-forgiveness, you would be able to get out of it. Then why is it so difficult to forgive ourselves, but it's so much easier to forgive others? The explanation for this is very simple. People will never find a room in your mind, but you will. Once the reminders of your past mistakes hit you, you overthink and start judging yourself. Some people may even have forgiven you for all the pain and suffering you had given them. You too could have forgiven them for all those sorrows they brought you. When it comes to you though, rather than just pleading guilty, you continue to force yourself and torture every moment. You also ask how you might have made a new start if you'd have forgiven yourself for the pain you caused someone. And then you remember, all these years, nobody showed you how to do it. And there you are, looking yourself in the mirror with guilt, when the flow of self-hatred takes you falling further into a pit of despair. As long as you don't forgive who and whatever it is, it will occupy rent-free space in your mind. Isabel Holland. We might have a chance for a fresh start with that number of opportunities if we really learned how to forgive ourselves, so that we can wash off everything out of our mind. The problem is that we really don't know how to get out of our inner jails. So when I found myself in the same miserable situation, I practiced a set of steps that helped me forgive myself. I've tried them personally, so I don't doubt if they work. Here are 7 effective steps to forgive yourself. To forgive is to set a prisoner free and discover that the prisoner was you. Lewis Smedes. Step number 1. Accept your emotions. I felt guilty for my behavior. All I did is just accept it. If you feel ashamed, admit it. If you feel angry, just acknowledge it. We make silly mistakes. However, making mistakes is often an opportunity to improve. Yeah, that's not the only way to improve. The easiest way is to improve by watching other people, and this is how you get wiser in life. So, be honest with yourself and admit that you failed. The method of forgiveness becomes simpler if you agree and understand it. Don't forget to listen to your internal voice. Instead, respectfully pay attention to everything it has to suggest to you. Allow it to make you feel however it wishes to. Then, make a list of the feelings the internal voice triggered you. Maybe it made you feel angry. Maybe sad. Maybe it made you feel ashamed of yourself. Just write it down. Step number 2. Analyze your mistake. Realize your mistake and make a list of all the good lessons you have learned from it. Focus on understanding how many mistakes were under your influence before you evaluate them. And you would come to know that you didn't have any influence or control over them. Now that you've seen things from a different perspective, you will learn how to handle them if it occurs again. Allow your mistake to settle in your thoughts for the next few days after you've evaluated them. The most important thing is to make mental notes of the lessons you learned from it whenever it comes to mind. Step number 3. Choose a good day. Plan to meet yourself one day where you won't be burdened by any big duty. Give yourself at least 60 minutes of your time. Find a quiet spot where you can relax alone without being disturbed. Keep your daily journal or a notebook with you. Start by letting go your everyday concerns and soothing your mind. Spend some time deep breathing, allowing the nervous system to trigger the calming process. Step number 4. Have a deep talk with yourself. Try to communicate with yourself. Have the courage to ask, why do I want to forgive myself? It's important to keep in mind that it's relatively simpler to forgive someone you respect and care about. So you need to begin with self-love. And you know what? Love is the most powerful healer. So, be the one you love with yourself. Make it a habit and priority to keep your notebook with you all the time. I know it's impossible to keep a book with you everywhere, so what I do is I journal everything on my phone. You can use Google Docs or just the Notes app on your phone. Make a list of the advantages of being rid of toxic feelings until you've forgiven yourself. But keep in mind, you can't love and forget at the same time. By love, I'm referring to the confidence it takes to get up and say, I apologize and accept my mistakes. I'm done with it. Listening is the most important aspect of every communication. So, with diligence and no distractions, pay attention to your forgotten existence. Step number 5. Validate your inner voice. Since you have jotted down thoughts of your internal voice, you now have a better understanding of how your internal self feels about you. Consider giving your internal voice a nickname that is polite. Now whenever you talk with him, address him by his nickname and inform him that you have sincerely listened to him and took his point of view into consideration. Let him know that now is the moment to work together as one. You've acknowledged him, but now you require his support to face the forgiving process. Speak to the internal voice with patience and love to seek a friend. Step number 6. Forgive as if you are your friend. Portray yourself as if you were your best friend and forgive yourself while holding no grudges toward yourself. By writing things down, you would be able to forgive and let go. You are not attempting to justify your behavior by writing them down. It is a contract paper between you and your inner self. Once you have forgiven yourself, you are encouraging yourself to be free. After that, you're no longer caught inside the grip of your past negative emotions. Step number 7. Enjoy your newly discovered independence. So, what good does it do if we feel sorry for something we did years ago? Why are we upset and depressed about letting go of bad memory of our life? When I was practicing these techniques, I felt as if I have sacrificed a large portion of myself, until I had forgiven myself and let go all the anxiety and negative feelings I've been carrying around for years. Let go of the memory of your life that you don't need anymore. Particularly now, as you are making serious attempts to ensure that such mistakes will not occur again. Since you've decided to keep all of the lessons from it, you're free to let go of the remaining. You can also talk about the basic lessons you learned from a broken relationship. It will teach you how to improve your future social interactions. So have a look at who you are today and how you've changed as a result of the journey. Now it's time to enjoy your renewed independence. Enjoy the peace that comes by forgiving yourself. Encourage yourself to see the other side of life. Forgiveness does not change the past, but it does enlarge the future. Paul Boos. Consider subscribing our channel and hit the like button if you loved our content, so the YouTube algorithm knows us. Now a bonus tip for everyone who has watched till the end. This is an advanced version of the steps discussed previously, and this is what I'm using today. Here are 3 quick and practical tips that I'm using today to forgive myself and let go of those remorseful feelings. 1. Reimagine. The first step is to reimagine the whole scenario. You must be aware that whenever you imagine yourself doing anything, the brain interprets it as if you've been really doing it. It is unaware of the difference between reality and imagination. So, when it comes to forgiving ourselves and letting go, we'll use this tested technique to our benefit. And here's what you can do. Think how you would recreate the whole scenario and believe in it. And write in your journal on what you have learned from the upsetting or humiliating moment. This not only demonstrates that you've learned from your mistakes and moved on, but rather that you'll do better next time. That's because the brain is unable to distinguish between the two. Anytime you imagine a new result, the brain treats it like any other random experience. Learn how to properly visualize not speaking those hurtful things, or not doing the stressful thing, the next time reminders of previous failures pop up, out of nowhere. Ready to wreck our day. I know it's a bit complicated to understand, so I will add a link in the description of my journal, so you can have a clear idea of how to practice it for yourself. 2. Apologize. My second piece of advice is to apologize and restore the bond. Otherwise, you'll keep replaying the last argument you had with somebody, hurting yourself in the end. So, if it's possible, attempt and re-engage with somebody you've mistreated, and apologize for the pain you've caused them. And it's better to give yourself plenty of time to think about what words to use, and how to use them correctly. 3. Just stop. My third piece of advice is to put a halt to your thought process. Here's how to stop coming back to that one moment when you did something bad and cringe and shame every time you remember the pain you created. Simply pack your thoughts and throw out the anxiety. You'll be able to interrupt those harmful thought processes from going wild in your head. It's simple. Simply tell yourself relax. Permitting your thoughts to go back to that bad condition or painful moment is not a good idea. Simply tell no to switch it off. There are a few other things we should do to save our minds from leading us to negative emotions. One of them is to let the mind recall a good or humorous experience. Try to narrate yourself the whole scenario, whatever the pleasant experience is. You will find it interesting that we have already moved away from the bad memory by the time we process it. Another option is to pay attention to your feelings. That is, you notice your mind drifting back into that painful room, and tell yourself, now, my subconscious is attempting to drag me down in there, to making me feel terrible, but I don't want to go there. Knowing what's going on and understanding the behavior will also be enough to save it from growing. So friends, you see in life, he who cannot forgive breaks the bridge over which he himself has to pass. In its purest form, self-forgiveness entails saying, I confess that I did something bad with others. I'll try not to do that again. I forgive myself and put my shame behind me. Subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss more videos of our journey in search of mental clarity. This is 1% Better Every Day, and I'll see you in the next video. Till then, keep improving and stay blessed.